Alright, welcome back to the Supercoach Enough channel. In this video we're going to review round 22 of the 2025 NRL Supercoach season. So a pretty good week, a low scoring week, but we scored a 12.08, which was inside the top 10% for the round, so doing pretty good there. And we did move up 1,000 spots overall, so just outside the top 20k, so hopefully we can continue to push up. But I guess we're fast running out of trades. Players are dropping like flies, so we'll do our best to keep it all covered. So 4 out of 6 league wins, how good, I'll take that. So Harry Grant was our starting hooker with a 52 this week in that shock loss to the Eels. We didn't play Donahue, but he would have got us an extra 12 points, being a really great option for us. Since we brought him in. Terrell May was pretty good with 58, albeit in the wet there in Sydney yesterday. And he's on the bye this week, so hopefully Payne Haas comes back in for a bit of a straight swap. With Payne Haas being the late out, we did play Nafahu White, so we got 55 from him, so that worked out all right. Our second rowers, so Hudson Young was a bit underwhelming with just the 44, but Eli Katoa was good with the 77. Connor Watson with the 63 was solid, and Jacob Preston with the 77. So all in all, pretty good there in the second row. But I suppose the halves is where our team shined this week. So we had Cleary as captain, and he turned up a 106. So that was a great get. Isaiah Katoa with 53 was okay, but then Jaden Campbell in that same game as Cleary with a 112. Probably wasn't expecting that much, but glad that we got that, and been a big fan of his all season. KO Weeks with a 44 on the bench was all right, and then I guess the disappointing one, Herbie Farnworth, was absolutely killing it. 69 points, made a break, and did a hamstring. So not only missed out on potentially a big ton as our VC this week, but his scoring for the rest of the season, we'll have to probably find another centre wing pick. Zach Lomax with 41 was a little bit flat, but again, Para got the win. Jacob Kiraz with 66 in what was not the best game for attacking play, so we will absolutely take that. Bo Furman with 61 was solid, but unfortunately we didn't play Adam Dewey, who turned up. We weren't expecting him to go so good against the Dogs' defence, but wet weather footy seems to be their downfall, unfortunately. So, that's a tough miss. Dylan Edwards with an 80 was good. James Tedesco with 44 was a bit flat. And Scott Drinkwater with 34 probably was our player to drop out this week. So a little bit disappointing there from Drinky. But in terms of the game day matchups, so in the first league, got a defeat by Steve's Supremas. Looks like it wasn't quite enough for him to squeeze into the top 8, unfortunately, finishing 9th for the regular season. But he had Jacob Kiraz as captain, but played Dewey, had Cleary, had Herbie. So Fanua Blake, McInnes and Hines in that game yesterday, getting him over the line with some great returns there, 84, 79 and 77. So probably those few sort of bigger scores making the difference there. But elsewhere in the league, let's have a look. Anything bigger? So we've got 1,311. I reckon that's about it. So it was a bit stiff to lose to the second highest score this week, but the Duke with a 1311. I guess Stephen can feel pretty disappointed to miss out with a 1231 as well. But for Jeff's team, he had Harry Grant, Herbie, Ezra Mann with a 92 as a nice pod, Brayley with an 81, so a lot of the Sharks assets scoring well. Had Munster for a 72, Clark for a 75, Captain Cleary. So just solid scores all the way through. So Yeah, I guess I had a couple of extra 40s and stuff, whereas, yeah, 70s and 80s and 90s, squeezing that extra 100 points out, I suppose. In the second league, so a tight one, but I got Katrina's team by 1 point. So you can see there, had the Fanua Blake, Brayley, Hines combo. So, it went pretty close. Obviously, Garrick with 23 was a bit flat. I don't know who the auto emergency was. Lehigh Opawati with a 21 dropped out. So, tough fixture for Manly there. But elsewhere in the league, let's see. I'll just double check. Oh, I almost got it too. So, very stiff Katrina to miss out with the 12:07 because I think the high score this round was a 12:11 for Shoab's team. So, another Cleary captainer. Fanua Blake was in there. Herbie, Dylan Edwards, Angus Crichton with the 70s, good. Had Jaden Campbell as well. So yeah, pretty tight in the second league. And then in the third league, had a bit of a win over Shapes, who I think may have abandoned ship. So might instead focus on the top scorer in this league, which looks like it was a two-way tie between Leonard's team, Samoan Kiwi with a 12.58, and also Scott United. So we'll have a quick look at both. For Leonard's team, he had Captain Cleary, Lockie Hubner with 68 is pretty decent. Matt Timoko, the pod with a 111 against the Dragons was a nice get. Where else? So just solid scores throughout. Brayley, Preston scored well. Had Munster as well. Yep, nice. For Scott's team, so he had Munster, Ezra Mam in the 5'8 spots, so good scoring there. Had Hubner still, Farnworth, Preston, Captain Cleary, Edwards, Fanua Blake, Nico Hines. So well done. They're a bit unlucky. Oliver missing out by 9 points to the top scorer in the league. Elsewhere, we'll just have a quick look. No, sorry, players. The big scorers this week. So Reece Walsh was the top scorer with a 134. Well done to the 8% that were on him. AJ Brimson with a 117 as well. So it could be an interesting sort of point of difference at centre wing with Herbie Farmworth out, potentially. Katoni Staggs, talk about point of difference, 2.5% owned to 115. Marshall King turning up, that's nice if you're on him. DWZ, 106 points for only three, would have been about 360k before this week, so well done if you were on him. Dean Mariner also turning up, so I guess there was that big win for the Broncos, so you do expect a few up here. Sammy Walker went alright with a 93. Broncos halves went good. Oren Keeley scored well with a 90 at his price point. Tua Picky, I think he played a bit of fullback, so that could be another interesting one if they keep that going. But after that, nothing too crazy. Don't know if we necessarily need to worry about break evens, but we'll have a look. So Sam Healy scored 76 this week. Pretty sure Wade Egan will be back from concussion, so probably not the most um, available pod, or sorry, cheapie. Ben Tolte scored another try, so 2 tries in 3 games for the big fella. And depending on how Payne Haas is going, he may get another run. Tamari Martin scored a 66, so reset his scoring, albeit coming off the bench. Oren Keeley's got a nice negative break even now if you're looking for a cheap sort of forward to finish out your team. Papali'i is on the way up with 60 this week, so made 50k and will continue to make some cash. Matt Timoko going all right with that 111. Will make some more money this week. Jaden Campbell in a similar boat. So, yeah, after that, again, probably no real cheapie. So, Rinakama was a bit flat, but again, the conditions weren't the best for cheapies, or sorry, for wingers, particularly cheapie wingers. So, we won't worry too much about that. But I guess the big thing is looking at the finals for the leagues. So we'll quickly run through those as well. So unfortunately, the Angry Pirates do feature in one. Look out. We'll have a look at that very soon. But in the first league, so we've got the Blue Bags finishing top of the table. Well done, David, against Drop Bears this week. And no Spoon this year, so I know Gary's been doing pretty well overall up against Shano's team, so that should be a cracking matchup this week. And then I guess in the elimination finals, Mike's team against Mark's team, and Phil up against the Duke. In the second league, so I've somehow managed to squeeze my way in here. But Shake and Bake, Cameron's team, finishing top of the table. And Blitzkrieg, Sam's team, up against Shoab. So that'll be a high scoring one, you'd imagine. Two guys doing well overall. Inside Out as well, making the top four. Well done, David. But I'm up against Julian this week, QP Field Taco. So I think this might be about it too. If I scroll down through my other leagues, yep, 15th, 14th, 11th. So I might be trying to target this matchup this week, see if I can win one head-to-head final series. Fortunately, the defeat to Katrina didn't stop her making the top 8, but a bit of a grudge match there against Matt, so see how that one goes. And then in the third league, so Ibrahim topped the table. Well done, mate. The Savage Bulldogs up against the Serena Sinners. That should be a good one. And Oliver's team, who's been doing well in all formats, up against Louis Legends, Leslie's team. And then in the bottom half, well done to Rick and Dave playing each other, and then Johnny and Scott's team as well. So some good matches coming up, no doubt. But in terms of moves this week, it is an interesting one, and given that I've only got 2 trades left, but I guess we'll do the obvious ones, which is hopefully Payne Haas comes back. We may need to find another sort of centre option because our number 1 replacement, Dewey's out on the bye. Karapani's been dropped, and Fletcher Hunt. So I think we may be using our last 2 trades this week. So if we chop Herbie, we chop Karapani, and that gives us 1.3 mil. So we can look at a couple of players, in that 6 to 700k range, and just have 6 options to cycle through till the end of the season. So looking at the highest scorers, so Herbie was far and away the highest, which is a bit stiff. But Ruben Garrick, did score a 23, but is actually number 2 overall. If we have a look at their run going in, so they have the Raiders, which will be a tough one down there at GIO. But then the Tigers, who can give up points in the right conditions. The Dolphins, while their attack's been awesome, their defence, isn't the number 1 by any stretch. The Dragons could be a nice chance as well. And the Warriors to finish at 4 points is a bit of an advantage there. Timoko, I guess, given how good the Raiders are going, you could absolutely get on. Let's have a look at his stats. So I guess back-to-back tons, but after that, not a lot doing. So maybe a bit of a risky one. He does have a bye in round 24 as well. Has the Panthers, which isn't an ideal matchup. So I might be giving that one a miss. Dane Gagai, I didn't watch the Knights game this week. Not sure if he's still playing fullback, kicking goals, doing all that. Probably need to look at that a bit closer. But if he is, he's scoring pretty well. And he's one of those blokes that does always seem to go good, albeit a toughish run with the Panthers, the Broncos, and the Sharks in the last 5. And the Cowboys away, probably not ideal. Who else? Nwangani Tuase is interesting one, pretty cheap as well, but we do know his upside. So just having a look. So the Dolphins away, the Bulldogs is going to be a tough one, and Melbourne. But it does have South in round 27, which could be a fill up given their injury crisis at the moment. So I definitely would consider. AJ Brimson's been going alright and has South this week, which makes it a very intriguing proposition. But then the Sharks, the Warriors, Dolphins, Tigers, not the worst run. Could go for someone like a Ronaldo Mulatalo, has an ability to go big in any given week. And with his run, he's got the Dragons and the Titans and the Knights, but does have a bye in round 25. So I guess obviously with getting the sixth player, we could cover him for round 25 and probably round 27 against the Bulldogs. So yeah, we could be looking at a Sharks asset. Lehigh Hopewadi, so I guess we already looked at Manly's draw, but could be an option. So it's kind of take your pick after that, really. Bradman Best, is he back from injury? Probably not yet. Doesn't have an injury designation, but he is one that can go big in any given week. Someone like a Blaze Talungi, with Panthers sort of really warming up into it, could be a nice pod. Although they do have the Storm, the Raiders, the Bulldogs. Not the best run for Penrith, but they still have that ability to go all right against them. So RTS maybe, just saw there. So maybe depending on team lists, I might have to have a bit of a look at a couple, but I think just to lock in a couple for now, if we just go a Gagai and a Garrick, probably be two of the more popular options potentially. And, that would then leave us without trades, but we should be able to cover most positions. We've got Terrell May will come back in. Tino, is he any chance? No, he's still a couple weeks away, but maybe round 27 could save us. We've got Connor Watson that can fill in at the hooker as well as Donahue with that flexibility. We could always bring Fermor up if we need to in the second row. But having those sort of six options at centre wing will be very useful, particularly with a couple of buys there. So, assuming we do go with this, captain, vice captain this week. So, Thursday night game, Storm Broncos should be a pretty good one, actually. I think I've only got Harry Grant or Eli Katoa, Payne Haas in that fixture, so a few options. But with the Panthers playing early on Friday, it's probably a good opportunity to VC Cleary. And then looking at the sort of later fixtures, you've got the Titans up against South, who are struggling. So maybe we can lock in Campbell with the C, given the form that he's in. So probably something like that. Do I need another reserve? Not necessarily. So just having a bit of a look through. Presto up against the Warriors should be an okay fixture. Qatar against the Roosters at home. Weeks is at home as well against Manly. So might not necessarily need to play Garrick this week, which is fine. Yeah, the Knights up against Penrith, so even though we brought him in, do we go Garrick over? Yeah, tough fixture for both, but might not even be these guys. But it'll be something like that anyway. But we'll wrap the video up there. It's probably gone long enough. So as always, if you've got any questions, comments, thoughts, feel free to add them below this video. Give us a like if you enjoy the Supercoach content. Subscribe for all the fantasy sports content on the channel. And I guess the new thing is the Discord if you're into that sort of thing. I'll put that in the description as well for you to join in. But other than that, we'll catch you in the next one.